It's Lainie. That's me. We are about to talk about a lot of shit. So here we go. I'm out of Ritalin. Yes, I am out of Ritalin. They tried giving me another type. It made me very angry, and I almost hit some people, but I did not. I just thought about it. It was irritability, not violence. So let me tell you, people really like Ritalin. Makes me sound like a crazy person, but it is prescribed to me. And it helps me a great deal with my mental health, which I will talk about in depth later. But here's the long and the short of it. Listen, Dr. Gupta left his practice, and now I have to meet some new white man, and he's going to tell me, he's going to hand me my stimulants. And I don't like that. I don't want a white man telling me what to do, and I don't want a white man handing me drugs. I know that they don't have the best shit. I am absolutely positive that they're getting bad prices on it. You know what I mean? All right. So, as I was saying, I have run out of Ritalin, which means that, you know, I've been a little bit hungrier than usual. Ritalin generally curbs your appetite. It also lifts your mood a little bit, so I've been a little bit crankier. And of course, as we all know, I have not been able to focus quite as much. I think that generally at this point in my life, I have realized that people think that I am an outgoing person, and I believe it is probably just that I am so distracted. It seems like I'm having a full conversation, but I'm really just trying to avoid you and not doing very well. You've distracted me. I'm in it. I'm talking to you. I wish I wasn't here. I wish I could disappear. Flu powder. Pachow. I'm leaving. But I can't do that. Not unless I have Ritalin. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm out of Ritalin, so I've been thinking about mermaids all day, and I have a lot of questions about them. And yes, this is what I'm going to talk about right up front. Here are my questions. The obvious. Number one, that everybody has. What's the deal with their sex organs? Do they have them? Where are they? Are they holes? Do they protrude? What do their scales feel like? Are they only on the bottom half? Do they get on the other part of their body? My question also, who do they report to? Is it Bigfoot? Do they know him? Do they know the Loch Ness Monster? That guy's smooth. They could scratch him up with their scales. Who does their hair? Which is a big question because their hair is always very beautifully done. It looks like it takes a lot of time. It looks like a waterfall made of silk. So I don't know who's doing it and if they're on Instagram. I want to figure out how to see mermaids on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's possible. I've seen them there before. I've got a lot of questions about mythical creatures. I think I sometimes wonder to myself, like, if I was a mermaid, what would my favorite board game be? And the answer is, go fuck yourself. Mermaids don't exist. Are you stupid? People are getting killed in this world. So anyway, that's just a fun little bit of advice for you. Just a contemporary take on society. Don't worry about it. It's not real. Think about people who need food. But this has brought me upon another query that I've been considering for a great deal of time. I have been thinking about who I would rather marry, a sorcerer or a ghost. And you know what? I think I might update this. Let's do a marry, fuck, kill. I'm going to do marry, fuck, kill, sorcerer, ghost, juggler. Classic. Excellent. This does impact my life. Mostly just the juggling part, but I think it's always good to be prepared. So I've just thrown this question to myself. Didn't know it was coming. So let's see what I'm about to say. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be unpredictable. Who knows what's going to pop out? Okay, so here's the deal about a sorcerer. Listen, is he handsome? Probably not. But I miss Harry Potter, so I'm vulnerable. I'm thirsty. I need attention. You know what I mean? Like, Alohomora, unlock the way to your heart. The problem with a sorcerer is that I feel that the entire relationship, you would question to yourself, did he administer a love potion to make me feel that I am in love with him, thus invalidating any of my true feelings that in fact come from an outside substance, So it's like, did he lure this into me with magic drugs? Maybe. I'll never know. I can never know if he's, in essence, I can never know if a sorcerer is mind raping me. And I'm sorry I had to say it that way, but listen, if you make somebody's decisions for them and they say, no, 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 please don't, and then you do it, like Kilgrave in Jessica Jones, that's mind raping people. And you know what? It's not okay. Don't mind rape. So that's my concern about sorcerers, that and their stupid hats. But here's the thing about ghosts. With ghosts, I don't think they could bewitch you using the same charms, incantations, or potions as a sorcerer or a wizard could, but I do believe that a ghost could probably occupy your body, which seems that it would be a much more physical, rapey situation. So I'm sorry that I keep mentioning rape. It's just that I think about it so much. But here's the thing. I think that would be a little bit not as bad. You wouldn't question your own morals, your own interests, your own set of beliefs based on whether or not you've been influenced into a relationship. You would notice if a ghost was making your hand move around all funny. Like if your ghost husband flew inside your hand and made you slap yourself in the face, you'd be like, dude, that's super fucked up, Jonathan. I can't do this anymore. You know, like this isn't working. But if your sorcerer husband gave you like some sort of sneezing love powder, you'd be like, I'll never know, Horatio, why I love you so. What was the third one I said? It was sorcerer, ghost, juggler. Ooh, juggler. The thing with jugglers is that they're autistic. So do we have to bleep everything I say out of this? Because it's like going to be on the record. I'm really going to dig in here. This is worse. But I feel like I've known a lot of, I feel like I went to a college with mostly like art kids and autistic people. And honestly, I often prefer autistic people to people with normal social conventions and manners, because autistic people, you always know what they're thinking. They never lie to you. If they come up and say, I'm glad to see you, they fucking mean that shit. You know what I mean? They never come up and they're like, oh, it's so good to see you. How are the kids? No, they come up and they say, hey, I'm hungry. I had hamburgers for lunch. Did you know this movie was made in 1952? Anyway, when are you going up? I know where the doors to the bathroom are. And you're like, fuck yeah, you can help us out of here if there's a storm. You don't give a shit about what anybody thinks about you, which is actually a fucking superpower. And you are probably the most stylish person in here, because I have seen Instagram lately and it seems that fashion is just mismatching. So, plus I like trains, you know? So I guess what I'm going to say is marry, fuck, and kill the juggler. Just always stay with jugglers. I feel that they're not getting enough pussy. I want to put it out there. I want to let you know, fuck a juggler today. Let that be the way that you serve the Lord. So on Instagram Live, I have been asking my followers what they want to hear in terms of dating advice, what answers they need, what questions they have, and how I can help. Here's the first question that I received from a gal on Instagram. I should have looked up her name to sound professional, but just for the sake of argument, let's say it was 6969 420, smoke weed every day with your butthole. The question from this woman is, I want to date, but I don't want to use dating apps. What do I do? That's a little bit difficult, because the thing I've noticed about dating apps is I am 28 and dating apps are pretty divisive at my age, because I would say that probably at least 50% of people my age have used them. But if you were in a relationship when they came out, or, you know, following that time, like if you stayed in monogamous relationships, then you've never used them. So there's something that apply pretty heavily to my generation. They're intensely used, but anybody I know who got married at 25, 23, something like that, they've never used them. So a lot of people don't understand how they work. And by a lot of people, I mean men specifically. A woman asked me this question. She said, I don't want to use apps. What should I do? I will teach the men around you to use them, because they're useless. They're doing it wrong. And I want you to have some good options. Now, that is assuming that you're interested in men. I don't know why I would assume that, because I'm not, and you shouldn't be either. That being said, I date men. I just don't really want to hear what they're thinking about. You know, honestly, the hotter you are, sometimes the more handle you have on it, because people have already been taking pictures of you, handing them to you and saying, oh my God, you look super fuckable in this. You know, just like, oh, you're so handsome. And you're like, thank you. My wang is fine. People get freaked out by them up front. They get intimidated and they get scared because they feel like it is a very simplistic, surface level, vain way to connect with people. It is. It's a simplistic, vain way of connecting with people, and you have to embrace that. Otherwise, you're not going to win. at Tinder. I'm just telling you this. Imagine it's Donkey Kong. Imagine it's pinball. Imagine it's specifically Star Trek pinball or Burger Time or something like that. And just know that if you want to win, you got to try. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You do not get a raise at work if you don't show up on time. I can tell you that from extensive personal experience for the last decade of my life. I am telling you, if you want to have success from Tinder, then you must do stupid shit. And you have to embrace that. You have to be ready for it. You have to get into the adventure. And this is what I mean by that. Sometimes people will come up to me and they'll say, oh, I didn't even write any words in my bio. It's just like kind of a joke. And then it's like, my dick is made of barbed wire. I'm so angry and I have guns. It's horrible. Or just like, I love whiskey and a dog. And it's like, which dog? And it's like, wouldn't you like to know? Here's the thing. You have to write a bio. You have to be polite. You have to be slightly interesting. And you have to be self-aware enough to not demand things or say anything crazy. And then after that, all you need is good pictures. You need a picture of you. Number one, you need a picture of you with some people so they can tell you're not a serial killer and that people will stand next to you without cringing. Number two, you need a picture of you straight on from across a table. What that does generally, get a picture of them smiling. That way it makes them seem inviting. It makes them seem non-intimidating. This is specifically for a man. I guess if you're a really scary lady, also do this. And it also looks like the picture has been taken from an angle where somebody was like having dinner with you. So it looks like people like to take pictures of you. They enjoy being around you. They're not freaked out by you. And then number three, no fucking costumes. I do not want to see you in a banana split costume. I do not want to see you with your shirt off, especially if you're a redhead. I do not want to see you wearing any Halloween costumes. I don't want to see any weird underwear jokes. I don't want to see any beers on your head. I don't want to see you doing party tricks. None of that is interesting. If you are up in the club, do not post that. First of all, that picture is going to be you sweating a buttload. There's no way that's a good picture. Number two, it does not make you look cool. Anyone can go to a club. The fact that you got in there is not impressive. We know you probably paid $200 fucking dollars for that because it was ladies' night and they did not want you in there. I am saying to you, do not put any bullshit on there. People are like, oh, it's just funny. Nothing's funny about it. When there's a cute girl nearby, do you bend over and show her the inside of your butthole and then say, oh, it's just funny. I thought she'd like it. No, you don't, because that's your anal sphincter and nobody wants to see it. Just take a goddamn picture. Okay, well, now I'm going to ask myself question number two. The question is it okay to end a relationship over text if you've only been on a few dates? Well, I guess I have a couple questions first. Number one, how did you communicate? Did you mostly communicate via text? If that's the case, then maybe it's the way that you've typically been sharing your feelings in a comfortable way, and you've already set the scene for that. I've been told I think it's ruder than I realize, which I guess makes sense. But also, how weird would it be if you'd been on a couple dates and then somebody called you to be like, hey, I just don't think it's going to work out. And you'd be like, then we didn't need to talk about this, bitch. Just send me an email, ping me or whatever. I don't need a phone call from you. Have we ever talked on the phone? I'm not away at summer camp. You know what I mean? I'm not in London. I don't need a fucking long distance landline call from you. Don't get me a walkie-talkie. That would be terrifying. We're breaking up because we were never dating. So there's no reason for me to have any sort of sense of decency in terms of quote unquote dumping you because we were never together. So that's kind of how I feel. I guess, the most difficult portion of that question is considering somebody else's feelings, which I would contend that you can stop doing. So just stop considering other people's feelings and you will have no issues with that anymore. That is question number two. Rip. I've been giving a little bit of background on my life, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my life right now. I have a 6-month-old boyfriend. He has been dating me for 6 months. He is not, everything's fine except the diapers. That's kind of awkward, but it has nothing to do with his age. He is a 6-month-old boyfriend because I assume that he was dead before he met me. I don't think he's ever seen or touched another person. And if I found out that he had, I would cast him into the depths of hell like Thor casting out one of his brethren. Loki, you're on fire. Anyway, that's just an issue I'll talk about with my therapist. Yeah, so I have this 6-month-old boyfriend. It's really difficult to be in a relationship, but I do like it for a few reasons. One of them being that it's kind of like having both a therapist and a physician, because they will tell you what is wrong with you immediately. They need no wow. If you're in a relationship, you know what they think is fucked up about you. You're going to get a diagnosis. So it's been really interesting and introspective for me to be in a relationship, because now I know that I am a petty bitch and I have chlamydia. So 2 things at this point. Okay, strap in your seatbelt. I'm not sure if this is appropriate. I'm joking. I do not have chlamydia. I have never had chlamydia. You know, like that's like a lot of times people tell me my pussy is like bleach because it's aggressively clean and it's almost always around whites. So, and that sounds aggressive to say. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but I want to make it clear it's not by choice. That's not what I did on purpose. That's just the way that they literally built the city of Chicago. So I've been trying to get out there and mingle, but you know what? People don't like that in their laundry. So they built a highway in between us. I don't know if we need to take that out, but I asked Jeff on the way here if it was okay to say that, and he was like, whatever. I thought you were going to tell me a joke. So I was like, is that racist? He was like, oh. I was like, I can't tell. I'm not trying to be racist, so you need to tell me if it's racist. Is my Flamin' Hot Cheetos joke racist? He's like, I don't know. I don't like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And I'm like, but I do. Am I being racist or am I fun? I can't tell, and my mouth is on fire, but that's the chlamydia talking. I don't know what chlamydia does. I did have somebody text me yesterday, and I looked at Jeff and I went, who the fuck is this? And he said, I don't know. I was like, nobody has my phone number. You know who has my phone number? You, my mom, and Megan. Megan is my best friend. Those are the people with my phone number. It's like my sisters and no one else, because every time I get a new phone, I ignore everybody. If they text me, I do not put them into my address book, because I think to myself, if they're important, they'll write to me. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of resistance to keeping them in my phone. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be connected by the thin tether of electronics. If you want to talk to me, you'll talk to me. If you don't, you don't. And you know what? I'm going to live in this world without this phone. And then I crush it and I shove it up my puss and I say, advance, for we are the queens of the world, Beyonce. You know what? Her recent album was not good. So I have some issues with that. We could talk about Nicki Minaj at a later date. Okay, I am now bringing out our final question. Keep sending them to me. You can always find me on Instagram, is where I do most of my social media. My handle there is Lainie_Lenertz. So it's LAINIE _LENERTZ. Hashtag it's Lainie, ITS Lainie. Hashtag it's Lainie. Hashtag not all men. So those are the 2 hashtags that go together, because I just really want to be alerted when a man thinks he's right, so that I can jump in there real quick and hurt him, because it's important to me that my listenership is both entertained and they feel that they're getting their money's worth. Their money being $0 possibly. Honestly, please Venmo me, because I need it and nobody pays me for my shows. I am so good. So many people shake my hand. They love to hug me. Oh boy, their girlfriends are very excited about the crowd work that I did, but oh man, can I not pay for anything? I gotta start bringing a tip bucket. I should start wearing a fanny pack and just writing tips on it. But then every time a guy came up, they'd be like, oh, just the tip. And then I'd be like, please kill yourself. I hate this. I hate it. Who are you? Why are you old? Why are you so loud? Why are you drinking white wine? I don't like it. Your wife is right here. You have children, sir. Children. It's exhausting. So, coming at you, question number 3 from Alice. What are your automatic swipe lefts on a dude's profile? E.g., pick where he's holding a fish, comma, mention of how much he loves Jesus, question mark. So, as I mentioned before, if he's holding a gun, that's generally a no. If in his biography he writes something demanding about how he commands that you are not, So if they have written no drama, no kids, no bitches, no hoes, no cocaine or something like that, then it's like, I have to bring my cocaine. Don't tell me what to do. But you'd be surprised some of the crazy shit that people write on there. It's insane. They'll be like, yeah, no mind games. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, you're just making, have you been talking to toddlers? Like, who's confusing you that much that you don't know what's going on? What do you mean mind games? Do you mean you're stupid and you can't understand the simple words that are coming out of a person's mouth? Or do you mean you've been dating people with personality disorders? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying. You know what? Actually, it sounds like you have a personality disorder and you're really putting it on some other people. You're projecting your own issues onto a lady, and you need to do some soul searching before you are interesting to talk to, sit with, or safe to be around. So honestly, I would say go back to your mother, ask her for some advice, start smiling at women instead of grimacing at them, and do not walk into them in the park. I will tell you, you know what they say about manspreading? That they're just walking right into you. If you don't dodge them, they'll walk right into you. And you know what? I make direct eye contact and I do not alter my path. And I will tell you, men have been walking straight into me. They smack right into me, just dick first. You know what I mean? It's crazy. If you stand on a goddamn sidewalk, a man will try to walk through you like Casper the fucking ghost. It is insane. Every time a man comes, I don't know why I'm so mad at men, but here's the thing. I think I'm not used to being at a job where I'm out during rush hour in downtown, and that affects me really negatively. I get really sensitive about my space and really irritable. Loud noises like stress me out really hard, kind of like a dog who was like drowning or something, you know, like a dog you rescued from the shelter and you're like, Bobo doesn't like train track noises. It reminds him of when his whole family was murdered by strangling puppy killers. And I'm like, that's me. I don't like it. If a loud truck goes past me. One time a loud truck went past me. It just went into a pothole, so it made a loud noise, and I screamed. I was on Belmont. Everybody on the sidewalk looked at me like, what a fucking idiot. And then I looked around and I kind of laughed and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that noise. And then they all rolled their eyes, looked away with lips curled in disgust, as if to say, this small town peasant better go blow herself. She's not ready for the big time. She's not ready for the city. That being said, if they demand things of you in their Tinder profile, scratch them out, swipe left, get them off the, but really not interested in that. However, I will tell you the strategy that I used, and I will tell you, do not do this. What I did was bad. But the strategy I used is that I just swiped right on everybody. So then whoever talked to me, I'd talk to if they got through the first round of interviews, which is where I just asked them what their job is and what neighborhood they live in. Then I would just say, you want to hang out? And then I would maybe meet them because I didn't care if they were serial killers because I'm very strong and I know Krav Maga. I can handle myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will bring my own snacks. I will fight a person to the death. And I don't have allergies to any pets, so I'm not worried about going into a new environment. You know what I'm saying? I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go. I'm the Fast and the Furious. I love to high five. So I did walk into a lot of date scenarios that were potentially dangerous without telling anybody, but I feel that I'm very strong and I probably could have murdered them. So I'm not worried about it anymore. But in addition to that, if you want to meet up with somebody from Tinder, you can get them to pay for your Uber. And it was not until I discovered that I truly accepted dates from Tinder. That being said, in terms of dating apps, just get a hobby, learn to knit, praise the Lord, listen to all of Prince's albums in order, get interested in anime, figure out how to fish, start hiking, start doing Kundalini yoga. Is that yoga? It sounds like cunnilingus. It sounds like that's oral yoga. If you are thinking about doing dating apps, get a hobby. It is probably more interesting. I understand that you're interested in dating, but honestly, there are a lot of very uninteresting people, so they'll come to you. Just do shit you enjoy. Just do some shit you enjoy. Just hang out and do your thing and be like, I'm killing it. I don't care. And then somebody will walk by and they'll say, hey, are you having a garage sale? And you'll say, no, this is the cart that I live in. And it's love at first sight. You two will roll away on the squeaky wheels into the distance and have your happily ever afters. I am still Lainie Lenertz. I am still passionate, and I am moving on to my next topic. So today I'm going to talk to you about jobs. If you're like me, you have been late to your job for every day of the last 6 years, and that's normal. I show up to my job late almost every day, but that's only because I hate my job. I do have a day job. I'm not talking about my comedy shows here. I have a day job because I wanted to kind of discover what it feels like to be miserable, and I've really unearthed it. I feel completely embedded in that emotion, and everything is absolutely meaningless. I've never done a day of work that meant anything. So honestly, we should all just go camping and eat each other's butts. But that doesn't seem to be an option for me right now because I'm wearing overalls. It makes it very complicated. So I stay in the office chair. Here's the deal. I'm late to work a lot, and typically bosses don't like that. I think it's inconvenient that they expect me to do anything for them for the wage that I'm making, but I understand that they would like to speak about it. So usually they're like, oh my God, this is so disrespectful. It's just disrespectful of our time. And I don't understand that because they'll be like, oh, this is disrespectful. And I'm like, okay, well, this is disrespectful. I'm playing hard to get. You are pretty into it. You've been handing me a check every week. I would like you to keep doing that. And I would like more of them. It's difficult for me to get here because I have some sort of sleep disorder. And I just want you to know, if I ever go missing and you're about to call it into the police, wait. Just wait like 2 days and I'll be back. I'll wake up. I'm somewhere, you know? Even if I got chloroformed, I'm going to wake back up and be like, well, that was a regular nap. I don't like my job. I'm late to it a lot because I don't care about it. And it's really strange at this point to be a woman in the American workforce, because the older I get, the more I realize how bigoted the workplace is, especially because I am currently in sales. It's also really strange for me because I've been doing comedy for 6 years now. So I got used to being around only men, but when I'm in comedy, I can ream somebody out. I can make fun of them or make a joke without any negative effects for the most part. But when I'm in an office, I typically have a few different men with belts who think they're in charge of me, and I'm not supposed to call their dicks small. So it's very difficult for me to keep a job. It's been hard. I'll give you an example of some casual office misogyny here in Chicago, Illinois, the city of hot dogs, the city of love. That's what I call it, the city of love and hot dogs. And if you love hot dogs, then guess what? You're in the city of that. Listen, I had a coworker. He was, I guess, my boss. I don't know. I don't like to call they're not really, you're not the boss of me. You know what I mean? You're not my real dad. It's just not, I'm not intimidated by you. If we fought, who would win? Me, obviously. Unless you would win in a fight, I don't think, I just feel like they're all raping. Okay, I'm sorry I'm bringing that up again. We have to put a trigger warning on it. I don't know what people do. Okay, here's an example of typical everyday workplace misogyny that I heard in Chicago, Illinois. My boss, who sat next to me at the time, had a fun nickname for some of my coworkers. He specifically, one gal, he had a fun nickname for her. He used to call her Cum Bucket, which was fun for him, but it was very confusing to me because, number one, I had to hear it. Number two, I had to allow it. And number three, I was very confused because who puts their cum in a bucket? Nobody. Like, who's doing that? Like fucking construction workers or like hobos? They don't even do it. Nobody puts their cum in a bucket. It's always like cum in a tube sock or like cum, just do it on the carpet and rub it in. The dog will eat it. You know what I mean? Nobody puts it in a bucket. It's that's not what people do with it. Also, it's strange. I don't know why you have to be derisive about the, I keep it, oh, she's loose. It's like, she's a team player. She's working way harder than anybody else. She's doing even more bullshit. You don't even want to touch your dick. And she did that shit. She deserves to make more money than you. That's insane. Have you seen it lately? It looks like a fucking evergreen tree. It's pointy and disgusting and it's dying and it's not going to last long. And guess what? Wood rots. You know what I'm saying? Boners up top. High five. Sound effect. I don't get it. I don't know why you would want to make fun of somebody for that. Because here's the thing. I did not like this woman, but you know what? It's not because she was slutty. If she's slutting it up, that's great. That just means she has team spirit. She's excited. She's ready to go. It's so crazy. It just reminds me of when, those people, the same people will complain and they'll be like, Mexicans are stealing all our jobs. And it's like, were you going to clean the toilet in that hotel? No, you weren't. So shut the fuck up. Same situation with Cum Bucket over here. I don't know why you got to call her a slut. She's the only one cleaning up after your dick, and you know you're leaving a mess all over the goddamn office. So eat a bagel and shut the fuck up. One of the worst things about my job is that they give out prizes, and the prizes are insulting. One time the CEO offered he was doing a raffle, and he was like, okay, whoever wins this raffle gets a $20 bill out of my wallet. And sometimes when I mention that, people get excited. They're like, ooh, $20, I'll take it. No, I don't think you understand. This is in broad daylight with a group of 20-somethings standing clustered together with like 50 people all waiting to be drawn so they could get a $20 bill. Bitch, if you hand me a wrinkled 20 out of that goddamn bitch wallet, I will, swear to God, kick you in the throat and I will send you back to Canada, because don't you dare ever touch my hand. It's disgusting. I don't need your $20. I'll show one tit to a man with a side haircut, and that guy's going to be... he'll have $30, so go blow yourself. I don't need to fill out a W-2 for this bullshit. One of the most difficult things about my job that I have found, with any of my jobs really, I've found that it's kind of difficult to balance them with my rampant mental illnesses. I don't know if I would call it mental illness. I try to pay special attention to achieving mental health, but that's kind of a silly way to say it. And but it's pretty optimistic, so I like to stay groovy about it. The thing about having trouble with my mental health is that I never expected that to be an issue for me, because the only people in my life who had ever had a problem with that were like my grandma on my mom's side and my sister and my other sister and my mom and my dad and the rest of my family. So I was like, there's no way that that's going to happen to me. Probably, that's not going to be an issue. The thing that's difficult about kind of maintaining mental health while you have a job is that it's hard to take time off for it if you actually need it, because you can't see it on the outside. So, for example, if you have bronchitis, you can see me coughing. If I broke a leg, you could see me wearing a cast. If I have a panic episode, you cannot see how many times my dad hugged me. There's no way for you to know what's going on with me. You know what I mean? If I have a depressive episode, all you see is condoms and M&Ms. It looks like we just had 4th of July or my birthday. I'm celebrating, you can't tell that I was crying into a dick. But, that's just how you got to think about it. It's hard to take time off for that shit. I'll talk about it more later, but I will tell you as well, I'm at an interesting point in my life where I have been sober now for, I believe it's 11 months and 11 days, something like that. And I stopped drinking. I didn't go to like AA or anything, but I stopped drinking because I have a lot of anxiety attacks. And so I just cut anything out of my life that added stress, that added any sort of mood swings, or added, when you have a hangover and you're kind of cranky, that would send me spiraling into panic attacks. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stop drinking so I don't have to deal with that anymore. Simplify it, take out some of the variables so that I can see a more smooth result. So now it's been almost a year that I have not been drinking, and it is interesting. It's definitely given me a lot of time. I will definitely say I've agreed to a lot less stupid outings with people I don't like very much. Because when you're drinking, people will be like, oh my God, we should totally hang out. And then the next day you're like, Karen's a bitch. I don't know why I spoke to that person, because you were drunk and you had a fun time. But you don't really need to see that person. You need to be by yourself. But it gives me a lot more time, I'm sober now, so I have time to focus on other things that are good for me. And I have time to focus on my true passion, which is Xanax. So I feel pretty good about that. I've been doing, just for every medication I take, I've been making up a slogan in case any sponsorship opportunities come up. So I like to say Xanax for when you have to visit your mom, Xanax. Or whiskey for when you're having a baby, whiskey. I just made that one up. That's good. Yeah, so I'm sober. And I've never done hard drugs, really. So I will say this. We're in the middle of festival season in Chicago. There's Lollapalooza. There's people out drinking. There's people out partying. There's people out doing PCP, I guess. I don't really know what that is. It makes me think of PVC pipe, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. A lot of my friends talk about microdosing, and I've recently realized that's a young people thing, and it's a very groovy drug thing, because when I mention microdosing at my shows, most people are kind of confused. So for those of you who don't know what it is, microdosing is when you take a drug, usually it's a hallucinogen like acid or mushrooms, but you take just a little bit of it. So instead of like going out of your mind, you just kind of open up your heart, open up your mind, and still drive your car around all day. So you're just high. I don't really understand it because it's like, I don't know why we needed a word for it, microdosing, because I think people have been doing it forever and it's just running out of drugs, you know? It's just like, oh, I have some left. I don't know, but I've been doing it for the last decade. You know, I've always been microdosing dick. So this is Lainie Lenertz telling you from me here at It's Lainie, I hope that you live happily ever after. And until next time, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. See you later.